What's the deal?
Here's the deal.
So, what have you been up to? What are you gonna do this weekend?
I have some good fun plans for this weekend. On Friday, I am going to learn how to play Mahjong in
Oh, wow.
Chinatown.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to play it.
Apparently, there's a bunch of different kinds. There's
Yes.
Chinese, there's Jewish, there's whatever, but I'm gonna go to the source and I'm
Okay.
gonna learn it right.
Yeah, just don't gamble because they're gonna take all your money.
I believe that. I believe that.
Yeah.
And then we also, on Sunday, we are going to Pop-Up Magazine in Oakland. Have you ever heard of that one?
No.
It's awesome. It's like a show. They started it before COVID, and supposedly this is the last one. But it's like a performed magazine, and there's some nonfiction parts, and some fiction, and some storytelling, and it's really great. So we're going to do that too.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah. How about you?
Well, I'm gonna have the honor to host this beautiful home open at 1729 Revere Avenue.
All right.
Yeah, it's a beautiful single family home as you
Yes.
can see in the background.
Yes.
And only $995 listing price. So, here's your chance.
Good. I love it.
But well, today we're gonna talk about something different, I guess. It's gonna be more about us, what it's like being a realtor. Well, you have more experience, so I think you should start the conversation.
Yeah, what it's like being a realtor. So we're all really basically entrepreneurs. We all run our own business. We're paid exclusively by commission. So we're not paid. We're affiliated with our brokerage, but we're not paid by them. So there's no salary or anything like that. And there's a lot of different ways of thinking about it and different ways we approach our business. Basically, there's two sides. There is the operational client focused side, which is selling properties. So working with buyers, working with sellers, listing properties, getting them ready for sale, advising, putting them on the market. And then on the other side, you're working with buyers, preparing them, going to look at properties and all of that. So that's the one operational side. And then there's the strategic side of working on our own business. So maintaining our client database, marketing, how do we do marketing, marketing our business, marketing specific properties, building our pipeline, meeting new people, staying educated on top of within our industry, within the broader industry, knowing what's going on in the mortgage world, knowing what's going on in the escrow world, what's about inspections, and just staying in touch with other colleagues, keeping abreast of what's going on in our marketplace and our micro markets. So there's a lot of different stuff that we do. Social media, print media, internet marketing, just there's all kinds of things. And so it really is how we set up our business, how we run our business, how many prongs, who we work with, how many people we manage, how we manage them. So it's a really fun and varied job. Some days we're out in the field all days looking at properties, dealing with clients. We do a lot of coordination between different stages of the process. So it's a really fun job. I think people think from the outside a lot of time there's a perception like, oh, that's so just wonderful. You just get to see houses all day long. And that's true. We do get to see a lot of houses, but that is our product. And so there's a lot more beyond just selling houses.
Yeah, it's see houses because you have to know your product.
Yes.
But of course, it's definitely a lot more work than just looking at houses.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What do you think about the people who say that realtors have an easy job? You just get the buyers and sign the papers.
I think they should try to be realtors. I mean, I think that it is not an easy job. In a lot of ways, we're really fortunate. We get to set our own schedule and we get to work for ourselves, which oftentimes means that we work more or we work more evenings, more weekends. I mean, I think it's all of those things. There's a lot of nuance involved. There's a lot of expertise involved. There's a lot of relationships involved. There is a lot of experience, knowledge, and none of that is easy.
Yeah, you win some, you lose some, and like even though you say that we have, like when people say that we have a flexible schedule, we make our own hours, but you're basically on call every day, any second. As long as the client needs you, have to show up.
Yeah, especially like when you're in the middle of negotiations and things like that. I mean, I remember when my kids were little, I could go to some of their sports events and I could go to their field trips. But that also meant that then maybe that evening I would have to work at home and I would have to pick up some of the stuff that I hadn't been able to do during the day. So, yeah, and it requires longevity. You know, it's a business where we have to motivate ourselves all the time. We're the ones who are responsible for our production, for how we end up, for our relationships. And so a lot of it has to do with time management and protecting our time and how we value it. And it ebbs and flows and evolves too. And there's some months, some years that are great years and great months, and there are some that are really hard. And that's through the course of a career. And to get through the ups and the downs, I think, is something that requires maturity, and it requires faith, and community also, I think, is a really important way to really stay sustained. And also, of course, to spend less than you make, because there's no guarantees of what you're going to make. Really, smart realtors also invest for themselves. So I always have my doubts when I meet a realtor, especially who's been in the business for a while, who doesn't own their own home, because we have to believe in our product. And yeah, it's expensive in San Francisco, but if you can start off early and make good investments, then that is a nice fringe benefit also of what we do.
Yeah, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of people who are new to the business, or the people who want to get into the business and doesn't know what it's like, you know, or need some advices, what do you think is the best advice or the best practice for people to, you know, get better and basically like start their career?
To learn the business. I mean, I think mentorship can never be understated. It's just so important because you can learn certain things from the books, from the tests, even from real estate practice, real estate principles. That's fine. Those are very important. But really, this is a people job, and these are small industries. So each local environment has its own way, its own people, and it's really, I think, important to get a mentor, to have somebody who can show you the ropes, maybe start as an assistant to someone else, maybe start doing some of the operational things or transaction management or something to get a salary and kind of see how things go. But I can't underestimate the value of mentorship, and participate in what your office has as far as communities, as groups, as get-togethers, what the local San Francisco industry has, what maybe your own particular ethnic group has, maybe an industry thing, and see as many properties as possible. Super important to know the inventory, because it's hard when you first start to know what's real, what's not real, to give educated advice when you don't have years of history and transactions. So I would say that. And then the advice that I got when I first started in real estate was from an agent who I knew, who had been one of my mom's friends. And she told me that it's important to figure out who are real clients, to be able to ascertain that quickly. And that takes time. That's a big nuance to figure that out. And not everybody pans out. and it doesn't always work out. Even now, I've been doing this for so many years, and every year I have one or two heartbreaks that just is tough. And you gotta just keep your head up and know that you're doing a good job. You do it with integrity. You back yourself up. You admit when you don't know things. You get information when you can, get support. And this too shall pass, as they say, for those times. And then there's the super high highs. Sometimes they're expected, sometimes they're unexpected, and that makes them extra special. And those also, look, they keep you going, and they also feed that desire for more. And those are always around the corner too. All the lowest lows are followed by some kind of a high. And what I always tell folks too is if you're really super frustrated, you're going through a hard time, take a vacation. Because always when you take a vacation, things will bubble up. Self-care. Self-care is a hard one, and not to get overcome or drown in work, because that's not healthy either. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of trying to maintain that harmony of life, of work, and keep yourself motivated, or else it just leads to burnout.
Yeah, that's some good advice.
Yeah, that was a lot of advice.
Very important.
Yes.
So, what do you say, like, what's your worst experience in a transaction before?
Gosh, it's a good question. I mean, there's so many moving parts. Every transaction is tough. Like, it's managing personalities, it's managing unknowns, it's managing fears, most people's biggest asset and where they live. Yeah. I mean, people disappear, you can't hear from them from a while, escrow makes mistakes, lenders say they're going to do something and they're not, buyers go and lease a car right before things are going to close. Oh my gosh, there have been so many. I can't even think of one specific one right now, but there's always things go wrong, and that's why it's important to be centered as people, because part of our job is to be present for our clients in those hard moments.
Yeah. Okay. Should I keep asking questions?
Dad jokes, maybe.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Well, here, I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
So, well, you being a newer agent, what attracted you to real estate? Like, why did it interest you?
Well, at first it's architecture. I mean, like the very basic stuff, like seeing houses every day. That's what I want to do. And of course, people, connections is, I mean, no matter what you do, you gotta need connections in some type of way.
Yeah.
And being in real estate, you just meet different people. Like, I mean, I met people in tech. I met people in biological fields. People who are just in finance.
Yeah.
People who are in, like, I don't know, like modeling business, or like artists. Like, it's just it makes every individual that you meet like a real person. It's not like, oh, like that's just some random person I saw today. But all the people that you meet are real person. They have their real history. They have their real stories.
Yeah.
And that makes it special, I guess, in some type of way. And when you make a connection to that person, it builds a different story. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. It's so true. That's one of the greatest gifts of this job, is that we get to meet so many different people who, if we didn't do what we do, we wouldn't run into them. Yeah. We wouldn't get to talk to them. We wouldn't get the trust that they give us to for a piece of their lives, an important piece. And yes, you said it beautifully.
Yeah, being trusted, it's some feeling that it's so it's so good. It feels so good to be trusted by someone. Like even though like you might not start off having a lot of people trusting you, but once you find a client that trusts you and you actually delivered,
Exactly.
it feels so good.
It
Yeah.
does. It does.
And to make it feel better, let's do some dad jokes.
Dad jokes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Do you want to start?
Okay, I'll do the first one this time.
Okay.
Okay. How are bats like real estate agents?
How?
It's all echolocation, location, location.
Yeah. I got a joke too.
Okay.
How do you make $1 million by doing real estate?
$1 million in real estate.
You start with 2 million.
Oh, that stings. Not wrong. But not if you work with us. I got another one. Okay. I tried bidding on a mall at a real estate auction, but I got outbid at the last minute. I guess the old saying is true. You can't win them all.
See you next time.
See you next time.